Things are about to get worse on SmackDown because, unlike the fall of the Bloodline and unlike the fall of the Judgment Day, this one is not going to be a long, slow burn. At least I don't think so. We're talking about the LWO. Now, more specifically, last night on SmackDown, or depending on when you're watching this, it might be the same day. But basically, what ends up happening is Rey Mysterio and the LWO confront Legado del Fantasma, and Rey Mysterio makes a challenge to Santos Escobar and Dom Mysterio for a 2-on-2 tag team match. Now, in this exact moment, what was very interesting is that when Rey Mysterio talks about having a tag team partner alongside him, the crowd begins chanting for Carlito. And this is where people start to get excited about the potential possibility of Carlito. And everybody's been telling me, whether it's in Discord or on Twitter or on the YouTube comments, people have been telling me that Carlito has been underutilized. And the reason why they feel this way is because Carlito came in and was basically just a backup guy for the LWO. Now, you got to remember, before moving forward, one, not everybody needs to be a world champion or a mid-card champion. My rule of thumb is that if you are signed to the company, in some capacity, you should be involved on TV, right? Unless you're injured or something like that, or unless you're training or getting a new gimmick repackage, for the most part, you should be involved in some capacity. And Carlito has been active on WWE television. He's obviously played kind of like he's in the background of LWO. And that's why this is actually very intriguing, because I think that is the story. Carlito comes back and makes this massive return to WWE, and the crowd loves him. He comes to the LWO, and Rey Mysterio chooses Dragon Lee. See, that's how the segment went down. Carlito didn't seem to be too happy. But here's the thing, you didn't notice this. This image right here, pretty significant. Joaquin Wilde and Del Toro Cruz and Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio are wearing the LWO shirts. Why isn't Carlito and why isn't Zelina Vega wearing the LWO shirts? Now, I put out a tweet and it's getting a really good response on social media, but Carlito and Zelina are not wearing LWO because the plan is for them to not be in the LWO. In my humble opinion, I do believe that Carlito is going to turn on Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee at WrestleMania, causing them to lose their match. And then what's going to be really cool about this is that it's going to get Legado del Fantasma a huge victory at WrestleMania, and then they can move away from Rey Mysterio. They can now go a separate path within their storylines post-WrestleMania, which for me, I think Angel and Berto should be going for the tag team titles. I think Santos Escobar should be in the mix for the U.S. title, and Rey Mysterio will now have to deal with Carlito. And I think this is a really, really significant idea because now it gets Carlito a logical heel turn. Now, me personally, I've had conversations with people. Some people like Carlito as a babyface. And while I truly understand that sentiment, I don't. I think Carlito has always been a cool ass heel. So personally speaking, when I see this being laid out, I think Carlito is going to take this heel turn to the next level. It happens at WrestleMania. Dom and Santos get the win. Dragon Lee is now going to be involved in a major feud. And ultimately, I think this leads with Dragon Lee basically getting the most benefit out of it. And by the way, you didn't have to rush Dragon Lee into a scenario where he is now forced to be a champion or something like that, right? That's the thing. Again, everybody thinks, oh, Dragon Lee left AEW or he turns down AEW and he goes to WWE and like he signs with WWE and people are like, oh, well, they're not doing anything with him. And it's like, hold on, it takes time. So this is a way to carefully craft a storyline every week where he gets to be involved in a major storyline that doesn't involve a title. And then when the title picture opens up, that's when Dragon Lee is ready to assume that position. Now, what does this have to do with Zelina Vega? Because Zelina Vega is also not wearing LWO. Guys, you got to remember the little things matter in WWE, right? The little things truly matter. And Zelina Vega is not representing LWO. And you might be wondering why. I do fully believe that Andrade and Zelina Vega end up coming back together. Now, I don't know what this is. I don't know how we get there. I don't know how WWE pulls this off, but there is a significance between Andrade and Dominic Mysterio having conversations in the background on WWE Raw. There's something significant about that. I don't know why or what's going to come from it, but I do have a feeling that somehow it leads to Zelina Vega. Now, Zelina Vega being with Andrade is good because, one, it's about presentation for Andrade. Secondly, I think the idea of LWO, when you look at LWO as a group and you see them downsizing, Berto and Berto and Angel for Legado del Fantasma are the tag team division. But then you have Joaquin Wilde and Del Toro Cruz in the tag team division, right? So when you look at this whole thing being downsized, you see feuds for these guys immediately after, right? They could still represent LWO, but they're going to go up against Legado del Fantasma in tag team tournaments. They'll go up against Pretty Deadly and AOP and all that other stuff, right? Dragon Lee is like your mid-card guy, and obviously Rey Mysterio is your legend main event talent. Carlito and Zelina leaving the group allows for not only the group to be downsized, but now it allows Carlito to have his own storylines, and it allows Zelina Vega to get back into the women's wrestling picture on Raw. So that means Zelina Vega would have to move to Raw. But I think that's a good thing. And when I say things are about to get worse, it's going to lead to really good storylines for everybody involved. I don't see how anybody doesn't benefit from this, right? Like with the Judgment Day breaking up, we often talk about Damian Priest and Finn Balor having a match. But I still think the Judgment Day will exist, just like I think the LWO will exist. Now, the difference is Finn Balor and Damian Priest is a massive, massive storyline, especially if Damian Priest became champion. Carlito and Rey is a big feud, but it's not necessarily as big because there's nothing really on the line. And I like that. I like that there's more quality storylines happening in the mid-card that don't necessarily require a championship belt. So Zelina Vega going to the LWO, from the LWO to Andrade, is a good thing because now that helps Andrade from a presentation standpoint. Andrade's great, but it's a little bit more of that familiar feel. Andrade can go for a mid-card title, that type of thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean Andrade has to be a babyface or a heel. It could be either or. That's the beauty of this. Zelina leaving LWO, I think you could do it multiple ways. You can have her turn on Rey Mysterio, you could have her turn on the group, or you could just have her flat out quit the group. And she can make it very clear. Like, she's going to have a match against Elektra Lopez, right? She's probably going to beat Elektra Lopez. But something can happen. LWO doesn't have her back, whatever it may be, and she could use that as her excuse to get out. The point that I'm trying to make is there's a lot of layers to this. It's going to get messy. It's going to get fun. WrestleMania is going to be a big part of it. SmackDown after WrestleMania is going to be a big part of it. And don't expect this to take place and be a long process. You know what I'm saying? I think this is going to be something that you guys will see relatively fast. When I say things are about to get worse, in reality, it's actually going to get better because there's just more quality storylines that we could all get excited about.